All eyes were on Lubbock this weekend as Texas Tech and their Red Raider football team were the focus for Fox Sports on Saturday. Coming up, MCTV Sports' Nathan Boles has a wrap-up of the university's chance to steal the national spotlight during a first-ever broadcast here on campus.
The few, the proud, and the brave are all terms used to recognize our nation's armed forces, especially on the observance of Veterans Day. Find out how one Lubbock attraction dedicated to the memory of one of the most historic times in history is taking a moment to honor all those who served.
And the temperatures are starting to get cooler, and that means that students are searching for any way to survive the long fall nights. MCTV's Jackson Greener has a look at how one campus group recently offered students an option to stay warm and get into the spirit of the season.
This is the MCTV Weekday Update.
Welcome to the Monday edition of the MCTV Weekday Update. I'm Ezra Rivera.
And I'm Holden Wright. Texas Tech received national attention over the weekend as one of the top football pregame shows made its first ever stop here on Texas Tech campus.
MCTV Sports' Nathan Boles joins us now with the details on a big start to this past Saturday's football festivities. Nathan?
That's right, Ezra and Holden. Fox Sports trucked in lights, cameras, and the full set for their big noon kickoff show to campus last week to showcase the university and Red Raider football, who knocked off the top-ranked team in the Big 12 just a week before. Hundreds of students lined up early to be part of the on-camera audience in the tailgating green space west of the Jones. The Big Noon Kickoff crew previewed Saturday afternoon's matchup between Tech and Colorado, hyping up the crowd and also experiencing the unofficial tradition of tortilla tossing. The show also featured a couple of special guests, including former Texas Tech and NFL receiver Michael Crabtree. Crabtree is famously known for catching the winning touchdown in 2008 when the Red Raiders defeated Texas to become the number 2 ranked team in the country. Head coach Joey McGuire also joined in later in the show to promote the team's collaboration with Patrick Mahomes and the brand new Mahomes strategy uniform worn by Tech on Saturday night. Big Noon Kickoff was a lot of fun for anyone willing to get up early and join in. I had a lot of fun doing it. The actual football game was a different story. We'll get into that later in sports. Back to you, Holden.
Thanks, Nathan. As you might have just noticed, Big Noon Kickoff featured more than just Red Raiders showing up in their game day gear to be on camera. There was also a sea of signs to catch the attention of the broadcast audience. Last Thursday and Friday, Fox and Texas Tech Athletics invited students to stop by the sub-courtyard to put their sign-making skills to the test. Poster board, markers, stencils, and more were all available for free to anyone planning to attend Saturday morning's kickoff show. Hundreds of Red Raiders took advantage of the opportunity, spreading out across the courtyard to find any open space to design their crafty creation. Students could then take the signs and make plans to get in the line early to let their artistry shine on national television. At the end of the broadcast, the owner of the best sign won $500.
Today is Veterans Day here in the United States. The annual holiday honors all those who served in the nation's armed forces. Here in Lubbock, the holiday is marked by several events, including an observance held every year on the far north end of the city limits. The Silent Wings Museum hosted their Veterans Day commemoration today from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. The museum is located just a few miles north of campus, on the west side of the Lubbock International Airport. Today's observance included a ceremony at 11 a.m. and free admission throughout the day. The museum includes exhibits and collections focused on the World War II glider program. But all veterans were honored during today's event. The Silent Wings Museum observance of Veterans Day started early this year, with the facility hosting big band performance on Friday night. Sharon McCullough, the museum's curator, says the event allowed attendees to better connect with the greatest generation.
It's a way to listen to some of the music of the Big Band era, experience some of the joy that was experienced by the World War II generation. Amidst everything else that was going on, their music really speaks to their resilience and their ability to have a little fun when they could.
Friday's performance featured local big band Finessence, along with refreshments and a cash bar. Along with the Silent Wings Museum events, veterans were also recognized on Saturday during the 9th Annual Veterans Day Parade in downtown Lubbock.
All last week, a special group of Red Raiders were recognized during a series of events. First Gen Week 2024 was celebrated across campus last Monday through Friday. The week included several events to support and connect the first-generation community. On Friday, the calendar of events ended with 2 options for the first-gen Red Raiders. a first-generation college celebration at the Student Enrichment Center, and an Achievers celebration in the sub. Both events featured food and resources, and all first-gen students were invited to attend. The Achievers event also specifically recognized first-generation students and celebrated their role within the Texas Tech community, while the celebration across the street encouraged students to enjoy some fun and games. Both events wrapped up on Friday afternoon and marked the conclusion of this year's First Gen Week celebration. Speaking of Friday, the end of last week included the return of rain to the forecast and a soggy finish to an unusually wet week here on campus.
But a rebound in conditions late Friday evening led to a much more mild weekend across the South Plains. So what can we expect this week? Chief Weather Specialist Elisabeth Herring joins with a look at what's ahead in today's MCTV forecast. Elizabeth?
We did have a gorgeous weekend, especially for that home Texas Tech football game. Those conditions continuing today, partly cloudy skies across campus, high around 70. And while it has been cooler in the mornings and evenings, we still have yet to see freezing temperatures here in Lubbock. Across Texas, freezing temperatures normally happen mid-October to late November. Here in the South Plains, we normally see a freeze by Halloween, according to the past 90 years. However, in the last 6 to 10 years, we've seen a freeze in November. So while we are partly on track since it has been a warmer October and warmer November, we are headed into that mid-November season where we should be seeing some freezing temperatures coming up anytime. Well, over the next 10 days, looking at our long-range freeze forecast, Wednesday we do possibly have the potential for some freezing temperatures as we do have a low in the upper 30s, and that could always get cooler. However, best chance is going to be next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Thursday is November 21st. Our last record for the latest freeze was set back in 2003 on November 23rd, so that date of November 23rd is putting us pretty close to that record date. But we'll have to see as we head into next week. We do have a cool front moving in on Monday, so hopefully that'll help even out our temperatures. As we look at our lows across the South Plains tonight, no need to be concerned about freezing temperatures. Everyone in the 40s tonight. Snyder 49, Turkey 46, Demet and Plainview 42, and mostly cloudy skies. As we take a look at tomorrow, highs in the mid-60s to mid-70s across the South Plains. Off the Caprock, warmer, Snyder 74, Jayden 74, Spur 71. A little bit cooler in Turkey with a high of 69, Demet 70, Plainview 66, and unfortunately some cloudy skies as we head into tomorrow. Tonight here locally in Lubbock, low of 48. Tomorrow, cloudy skies, high of 72, and south winds at 16 miles per hour. As we take a look at our 3-day, Wednesday finally back to some sunshine, high of 68. Thursday looking a lot like Wednesday, sunshine, high of 70, and we do have a low of 38 that evening, so again, that could be cooler, but next week is going to be our best chance for those cooler temperatures. As we head into the weekend, actually warming up. Friday, high of 74. Saturday, high of 78. Back in the 60s on Sunday with a high of 69. Monday, a little bit cooler with a high of 65. Lows in the upper 40s and lower 40s for this weekend. Monday, we do have a cool front moving through the area, dropping temperatures. We do also have the potential for some rain on Monday, as well as freezing temperatures as we head into next week with that cool front. I'm Elizabeth, and it's back to y'all.
Thanks, Elizabeth. With the chance of colder conditions on the way, many students are starting to look for options to stay warm as fall conditions start to set in.
And one campus group known for their many fun and free options for students organized another seasonally themed event right in time for the temperatures drop. MCTV's Jackson Greener recently stopped by the sub with his student ID and joined in on the latest activity.
When the weather is getting colder, everyone gets ready to grab their favorite hot drinks. For some, it's tea, others coffee. For some of us, it's a pumpkin spice latte. But for Addie Furch of the Student Activities Board, it seems to be a make-your-own hot cocoa.
So students can come, show their student ID, and then they can make their own cocoa kit. We have the powder, we have various toppings, and then we also have beverages for students if they'd like to walk away with their own beverage. We have coffee and hot chocolate, and then they can go on to the next activity and take a picture in our inflatable swimwear.
But according to SAB's daytime coordinator, Sarah White, hot cocoa isn't the only thing SAB does on campus.
We do Nightmare on 19th, we do Homecoming, we do Arbor Day, we have a rage room in the Red Raider Plaza gazebo, we have Swift Night coming up, Jelly Ball, which will be at the Jelly Ball place.
With so many different activities, some people may be wondering how to get involved with SAB.
We will be accepting new applications in January or February, so you can join our organization and be a member, be one of the people who helps put on the events. So yeah, we're accepting applications in the spring.
With how much went into this event, I couldn't help but make a hot chocolate of my own. And with a photo and a snow globe to wrap up my day, I called it a wrap. For MCTV, I'm Jackson Greener.
As we mentioned earlier, Fox Sports was in town over the weekend to broadcast Red Raider football and their chance to upset yet another top-ranked team in the Big 12.
The energy around the game may have been high, but was that enough for Tech to defeat CU in the first conference showdown in 17 years? MCTV's Nathan Boles joins us again with details on another Saturday at the Jones and more in sports. Nathan.
Thanks, Holden and Ezra. With Big Noon in Lubbock, could the Red Raiders capitalize on the energy and find a way to take down Colorado? Well, we'll pick it up in the first quarter where it looked like that's exactly what they were maybe going to do. Baron Morton rolls back on this one. The first drive of the game, flips it to Jalen Conyers, and he gets into the end zone. All the tortillas fly as Texas Tech goes up 7-0 early. They go up 13-0 early with 2 more field goals, but here comes Colorado. Shedeur Sanders out to LaJohntay Wester for a touchdown to put the Buffaloes up on the board. Tech went cold for a bit. Colorado with a 4-point lead, but here comes the Red Raiders. 4th and 1, flip it to Taj Brooks, and he'll get in the end zone for a 3-point lead. Taj Brooks later in this game broke the all-time career rushing record at Texas Tech. Congratulations to him. But back to the game. Colorado now back up 4 and make it up 11. Shedeur Sanders to Travis Hunter to give Colorado a 31-20 lead. Early fourth quarter, 4th and 9, Baron Morton sacked, but here comes the flag, and it looked like a face mask early, or at least it looked like they would call face mask, but they ended up calling targeting on this one. And that's interesting because, see here, there's the face mask, pretty clear miss, and the targeting, though, they ended up overturning. So in the end, no penalty on Colorado. Chaos ensues with the crowd throwing things on the field. Joey McGuire gets on a microphone and tells the students to stop throwing things on the field. Joey McGuire explained why he made the plea to the fans at that point.
I mean, it's one thing about, here's the whole deal. I got a vape brought over to me. I've got a water bottle brought over to me. I got a beer bottle brought over to me. Now, you know, like, it's great with tortillas and everything like that, but we got really lucky that we didn't get a 15-yard penalty. And so I appreciate the passion of our fans and our students, and man, I love them to death, and man, I think they're absolutely incredible. But when you get to that point, you know, that's taking it too far.
In a wild game marred by officiating mistakes and the crowd getting out of control, Colorado got the 41-27 win over the Red Raiders. The Red Raiders are currently 8th in the Big 12 standings after the loss. A win would have put them in 2nd place with an open week coming to help shake out where they would really be. Now the Big 12 championship looks very unlikely. The Red Raiders will have to stew on this one before they play again in 2 weeks at Oklahoma State. Their final game will be November 30th when they host West Virginia. Texas Tech soccer is going to the NCAA tournament for the 2nd straight year, and they'll start off at the Walker once again. The Red Raiders were selected today to the 64-team field. Despite the loss of star midfielder Sam Courtright to a torn ACL, the Red Raiders still had plenty of talent led by Macy Blackburn to go 14-4-2 on the season and 8-1-2 in the Big 12, good for 2nd place only behind TCU. Texas Tech just finished at the Big 12 tournament in Kansas City with a loss in the semifinals to Kansas 2-1. Texas Tech will play LSU in the first round of the NCAA tournament, again at the John Walker Soccer Complex here in Lubbock. The date is still be determined this weekend, but it will be Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. The winner of LSU and Texas Tech will play the winner of number 1 seed Duke and Howard next week. It is Texas Tech's 2nd straight trip to the NCAA tournament. Last year, they hosted 3 games at the Walker before falling to North Carolina in a tough Sweet 16 matchup. Red Raider basketball is 2-0 on the season with a couple wins to start non-conference play at the United Supermarkets Arena. On Friday, they took down Northwestern State 86-65. Kevin Overton played well with 19 points off the bench. Darian Williams also played a lot and had a rough night shooting the ball, but he still got 8 points, 8 rebounds, and a career-high 11 assists to help lead this team to victory. It was JT Toppin, however, that really put it on with 25 points and 7 rebounds in just 22 minutes as a reserve. And he might have had more if he didn't get into foul trouble. The Red Raiders only played 7 men due to injuries, but they still found a way to get the 21-point victory. The Red Raiders will play again in a couple days for the third of 4 home games to start the season. Wyoming is next up for Tech. Assistant coach Jeff Linder was actually Wyoming's head coach for 4 seasons, and this game was part of the deal that allowed Linder to get to Texas Tech. Tip-off Wednesday is at 7 p.m. at the USA. That's all we got for sports. Back to you, Holden and Ezra.
Thanks, Nathan. The Thanksgiving break begins in less than 2.5 weeks, and many students are looking forward to the time away from the stress of school.
By this point, most Red Raiders have their plans in place to leave Lubbock and head home for the holiday. But if you're still searching for a way to get off campus, there's one option still available to get away for Turkey Day. Every year, Tech's Office of Parent and Family Relations partners with Break Shuttle to offer affordable round-trip options for students to travel to several popular destinations. The Thanksgiving bus trips are scheduled to make stops in Austin, Dallas, El Paso, Houston, and San Antonio over the break. Some of the trips have already sold out, but there are still tickets remaining to get to Austin, Houston, and El Paso. Prices range from $150 for a one-way ticket to El Paso to $160 to Austin and $168 for Houston. All trips leave from the R11 parking lot behind the sub on Wednesday, November 27th. A ticket for a return trip is also still available for El Paso for the same price and San Antonio for $160. The trips back to Lubbock will leave on Sunday, December 1st. If you are interested in any of the remaining trips, you can visit breakshuttle.com for more info.
So, Ezra, do you have any plans for the upcoming break?
I do. I'm leaving as soon as humanly possible. How about yourself?
I will be leaving as soon as humanly possible also. That's all for today's edition of the MCTV Weekday Update.
Thanks so much for joining us, and be sure to check ttuhub.net every day for more news. We'll see you on Thursday.